everyone, welcome to Learn with Veon.
Alright everyone, I need to hold up Jupiter for as long as I can. I need to do it.
So Jupiter is the fastest rotating planet in our solar system, and it takes less than 10 hours to make one rotation. It's the fastest rotating planet because it formed early in its history, which we're gonna go on to that in another video. So early in its history, it's the oldest planet in our solar system, and it's one of the largest objects. Since it formed early in its history, and plus since the outer planets formed the earliest, it's the fastest rotating planet. So now let's go on to its orbit. Jupiter's orbit takes more than 10 years. That is a long time. And due to its slow orbit and fast rotation, and it differs because it lacks a solid surface, which you're gonna get into that in a second. It lacks a solid surface, which means it lacks all the features a rocky planet has. The four inner terrestrial planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, which we are on right now, and Mars are terrestrial planets. The other outer planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So guys, now, since we talked about Jupiter's orbit, let's go on to its magnetosphere. We didn't really cover this with Mercury, Venus, and Mars because they lacked a significant magnetosphere. They don't really have magnetospheres because due to either their small size or something bad happened to them. Well, Jupiter it has a prominent magnetic field, which makes it more unique, which makes it more thriving than other planets' magnetosphere. Now, if you haven't already, subscribe and like to the channel. If you haven't already, and check out our channel for merch. So let's go right back into the video. So guys, Jupiter has the largest magnetosphere in our solar system. So basically, even though it's far from the sun, it still has a strong magnetosphere. It has a very big one. And those little colorful things in and Jupiter's atmosphere, it has auroras, which is seen in ultraviolet light, which we're gonna get onto that in a second. Alright, so let's talk about. So Jupiter has the strongest magnetosphere in our solar system. And it even extends to Saturn's outer orbit because its magnetosphere is very strong, which shields it from the sun's phenomenon called solar storms, even though somehow the sun's solar storms can affect any of the planets. Because planets are not entirely invincible, so they can be stripped off their orbit or something like that. But anyways, since Jupiter is an outer planet, it's less likely to get hit by solar storms, but I haven't looked at the chances yet for it to get hit by a solar storm. Now, let's talk about what are those colorful, beautiful things that are on Jupiter. Now, Jupiter has these things called auroras, but instead of just being visible in visible light, it's seen in ultraviolet light. So you can't really see them because you can see Jupiter, you just can't see the auroras because the auroras are mostly detected in ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light is different from visible light. So basically, Jupiter has one of the largest auroras in the solar system. It is hundreds of times brighter than those on Earth. Now, what are Jupiter's auroras caused by? Jupiter's auroras are mainly caused by Jupiter's moon Io, whose volcanic activity. But we haven't gone to the moon part yet. So basically, Io is the most volcanically active world in our solar system. Once Io's volcanically active volcanoes spew out these little plasma things into space, it can go into Jupiter's atmosphere and cause auroras, those little big things. Now that you know what causes the auroras, let's go on to Jupiter's moons. Jupiter has 4 major moons, even though it has many more moons to find. But we're focusing on the 4 major moons. That one of those moons are called Ganymede, Callisto, Io, and Europa. Now, since Mercury, Venus, and Mars doesn't have any moons, even though Mars has 2 moons, and Earth has only 1 moon, since Mercury and Venus doesn't have any moons, we didn't have time to cover their moons. Now, Jupiter's 4 major moons, like we said, are Ganymede, Callisto, Io, and Europa. Now, we're not really going to talk about these moons because we're going to do that in a future video, and we're going to experiment that, but we're not really talking about those moons. Plus, just to keep in mind that Jupiter does not have the most moons in our solar system. There's a planet that has more moons in our solar system than Jupiter, but I don't want to reveal the secret too early. So anyways, we're going to be doing a brief explanation on those Galilean moons. Ganymede is the largest moon in our solar system, and it has a subsurface ocean, a mini magnetosphere, and more, but we're not going to get onto that right now. Callisto is a dead moon which has craters, impacts, and it has an inactive fault system, even though it's not active. Io, which we just talked about, that is the cause of Jupiter's auroras. It has volcanoes. It's cold though. That's a surprising one, but due to its volcanoes, it has lava lakes, and it's a lava world, and it's composed of many different things. And the last one, Europa. It has a subsurface ocean which could potentially have life, but since it's smaller than Earth's moon, and it's smaller than the Earth, it cannot really have humans because due to its thin atmosphere, even though it has a significant amount of oxygen. Now, I just gave you a brief explanation on those moons. Now, just to keep in mind that Jupiter not only just has 4 moons, it has many more moons. There's a recent discovery of 95 moons and potentially even more. Now, what was I gonna do? Now, we're gonna be talking about the planet. We're gonna be talking about what is that gigantic spot on Jupiter or that looks like a storm? That gigantic spot on Jupiter is known as the giant red spot. The giant red spot is a storm system on Jupiter that has been raging for over 300 years. It's known as an anticyclone, and the storm is like the never-ending storm. But there's something going on with it, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. That giant red spot on Jupiter is larger than the Earth, which means like an Earth can fit in the giant red spot. So I'm gonna compare the size with the giant red spot with Earth. This is the Earth, this is the giant red spot. You can see the difference, you guys, because whenever you can see the difference, you know that, right? Because the giant red spot is larger than the Earth. That's also a reason why Jupiter has larger storms than the Earth does. So imagine, what if the giant red spot was on Earth? It would be a total disaster, because it would have destructive forces in Earth's atmosphere. There would be intense storms going on, and life that we know it would be vanished. Clouds would be everywhere, storms would be raging, all of that stuff that the giant red spot causes are known as anticyclones, which would make Earth pretty much all the cities would be destroyed because of the giant red spot. Everything would be destroyed in its way. There's not even a way for something to survive on Earth. Alright, now, there's a lot of things to cover about Jupiter, but we can't do it all in one day. So here's a few more things about Jupiter before we go today. So, now, Jupiter is a gas giant planet. It has many stuff like hydrogen, helium, and all that stuff. But Jupiter is not habitable as we know it. There's no such thing as a habitable thing on Jupiter. Plus, Jupiter lacks a solid surface where you can walk on it. Now, those are not really stuff for you to walk on Jupiter. So yeah, we can't really cover. And plus, guys, thank you so much for watching today. We're gonna be making a part 2 of this video. So we're gonna be posting a part 2 of this video. So keep that in mind. And also, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, and you should subscribe and turn on the notifications bell because you don't want to miss more episodes of the planets in our solar system. Bye bye everyone, and see you next time.